Well. Here we are from the exquisite La Quinta Inn,
Yeah.
downtown Austin, Texas. We're here with the Ben Lingle.
Yeah.
You got something
Hello.
to say, Ben?
Hello. Podcast world.
And William H. Shively.
H?
It's like an H sounds right after William.
Like William H. Macy.
Yeah, it sounds real proper,
Well,
like real.
still wrong though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real presidential.
Well,
Real Congress maybe,
Yeah.
Congress type name.
yeah.
What's the middle name though? What's your middle name? Come on,
Daniel.
William D.
Yep. Willie D.
Willie D. That's
We've
okay.
never done this face to face before. You're going to have to excuse us a little bit for having some fun.
Yeah.
Because we can see the reactions as they happen. A little different.
Staring
in
at each other's
Austin.
eyes.
Yeah, it's better than having to, do it from East Coast to West Coast.
It might not be better though.
It might not. This might be a
It works.
catastrophe.
All right, so we have a couple of questions for you guys. This is almost special edition because we are on our Coastal Strength and Fitness meeting, business meeting.
Business retreat.
So we're in Austin, Texas for it coincides, lucky us, with the Austin City Limits Music Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of everything. You have Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jay-Z, then you got some smaller bands,
Run the Jewels. Chance the Rapper.
Chance
That's
the Rapper.
Dude, that's gonna be good.
Yep. So a little bit of everything. Three evenings. So we'll mix in. We wanted to make sure we got the important food stuff in. So we did the barbecue a couple hours ago. We did the tacos.
Yeah, we done tacos.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely have the meat sweats today.
Like, we were talking about how far we had the complimentary breakfast. You know, the eggs and the bagels and stuff, and it feels like it was so far away.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we've eaten 5 meals today.
yeah,
A long
the
day.
food from that morning is just piling up.
Yeah.
So
And we still have some brisket left over.
yep.
We have
No
we have a
fridge.
little meat platter, but no fridge. So like we were gonna eat it for breakfast, but now like it's forced our hand and we have to eat it for dinner.
It's like
So-
the deal breaker you never remember. Like,
Yeah.
if you knew that there was no fridge in here, you would not
Exactly.
jump into this. But you
Yeah.
never think that.
But we
actually
thought we had a
search for it.
fridge, and now darn it, we're stuck with a bunch of meat we have to eat after we film this podcast.
But luckily, like, that's that excuse you play yourself when you look for reasons to eat when you're full. You know?
Exactly.
Like, we can't waste the meat. You know?
Yeah, can't do that.
So-
So we're gonna acknowledge the fact that we hit full, and then we're gonna eat the meats because we're on vacation,
Yep.
and we don't want to waste them. Because if you waste Texas brisket, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
they arrest you.
That's a law.
Yeah,
That's a law.
We can't let that happen.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd rather the meat be the banana pudding.
Oh man, let's talk about the banana pudding real quick.
High quality.
Yeah, it was high quality,
Of the
just
highest.
enough like banana flavor. Didn't taste fake. Wasn't overly sweet, and then it had some nice layers to it, right? So you had like the banana whipped cream, and then like some crumbles, which I can assume are vanilla wafers.
And there was like a little banana in each one of
exactly.
the crumble layers.
Yeah. So just like
Ooh.
layers of whipped cream, banana crumble, whipped cream, banana crumble, and then topped off with a little crumble.
Mm.
And
just so you know, a big key of being fit for life is eating the banana pudding.
eat the banana pudding, please.
Like, you gotta.
When you're in Austin with like your two best bros, you eat the banana pudding together, right? Now, when you're home alone by yourself, or you're like just like with your kids on a Tuesday, like you don't eat the banana pudding, right? And you do that so that when you're with your bros or your girlfriends or whatever, you can eat the fucking pudding. So yeah,
Getting real aggressive.
it's the bourbon. The bourbon's doing that to me.
It's still true. It's
Yeah.
still true.
I mean, the pudding was that good. That's really the moral of the story.
All right, and then before we dive into some of the questions, we'll go over our beverage choices, so
Yeah.
you can judge real hard. Most of the people that know us, it's not going to be a surprise.
It's gonna be really in line with what they would think.
But for everyone else that doesn't know us on that level, we'll just lay it out there.
All right,
for
Gary,
you.
what are you drinking, man?
So Ben and I, we went with, because we knew we were going to be, we nothing too crazy, just sipping on something. So we went with the Deep Eddy sweet tea
The
flavored
Deep Eddy.
vodka. So,
It's
but it's
called
local.
Deep Eddy?
Deep Eddy's local.
I wonder
It's the local
who is,
Austin.
Who's Deep Eddy?
Deep Eddy. I don't know. I didn't read the backstory here, but yeah, we went with the Deep Eddy sweet tea flavored vodka, and I feel very strong and positive about our selection.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
And I got some Larceny bourbon, and I'm really, really happy with my selection. I did a little ice and like a splash of water in case anybody's like a bourbon snob and they want to judge me how I drink my drink. That's what I did. Usually it's like one or the other, I feel, and I did both. So come at me, woes.
So make sure you drop some comments. Let us know how you feel about that, what you enjoy. So we had a discussion too. None of us are really like huge beer drinkers.
Nah.
Because they're so like beer's like very filling, right? Like you're gonna like if you just had a huge meal, it's hard to drink a couple beers, you know. Or if you have them with a meal, it's the same thing. It's a little difficult for me at least. Maybe I'm a baby, so. But I think my beer. The problem is I grew up through college with the beer drinking experience of drinking like 8 Bud Lights. You know? So like that's all I associate it with.
And that's that light stuff too, though. That stuff you could definitely pound, 8 to 12, and not really feel anything, especially if you had a huge meal beforehand. But I don't know. I think
8 to 12.
I haven't been.
Did 8 to 12? I'd be on the
8
roof,
to
man.
12.
Like
Bud Light, like
Dude,
Mick Ultra,
yeah.
like
Mick Ultra.
Yeah, a little 8 to 12.
no,
Mick
you would
Ultras.
be. Do you drink Bush?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't drink any of the light
Did
stuff.
like Keystone? Oh,
Give me a thick beer that'll slow me down, put me to sleep at night, and
A
I won't
thick
do
beer.
anything stupid.
like IPA or like a stout, like something like a
See?
milk stout.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Chocolate beer or something.
Ooh, okay,
You
yeah,
know what I
something
mean?
tastes like a little like
Oof, you
like-
can't get more than like one or two
cake
of those.
that like burnt cake that you
Oh,
microwaved.
yeah.
And then you put it in a bottle.
You've been saying that. I don't want that.
Yeah.
Sweet tea's good.
Yeah. Yeah. This bourbon's probably almost too good. So strap in.
So here we are. So we have a very common question that's hot right now. Pretty
Yeah,
much we
let's-
get it
let's
all
hit
the
that.
time, and it will be a fun one to answer. So the first one is going to be a nutrition question about intermittent fasting. All right, who fired that one up for us?
So Larry Coleman. Larry.
All right, so Larry hit us
Love you,
up
man.
with a question about intermittent fasting. Basically, our thoughts on it. So intermittent fasting, I'll say I have done it and ate like that for about 2 years, probably like about 3 years ago. So it's just popular now. All essentially, there's tons of different forms, but the popular one that most people are referring to is where you eat in a smaller window, right? So you normally skip breakfast and basically you eat for like an 8-hour window, so between like 12 and 8 or something like that. All right. So now essentially the reason like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm doing intermittent fasting, I lose weight. That basically happens because if you go from you're used to eating all day to then you're only eating for 8 hours out of 24 hours, and obviously you're sleeping for 6 to 8 hours, you're gonna naturally eat less, and that's why you lose weight because you ate less food, not because you ate between a specific time. So, in a way, it's also there's some other health benefits because you're eating less, right? If you're used to eating all the time, your digestive system's always working.
Like 6 times a day.
Yeah, it's stressful on your body. So by eating less, you don't put as much stress on your body. So there's benefits like that, but for the most part, it's just, hey, what's convenient for you? A lot of people it works well because essentially you're gonna have to eat bigger meals. So if you're only eating for 8 hours, you typically have like a lunch and dinner, and then to get the amount of food you need in, you're gonna have bigger meals than if you were eating 5 or 6 meals a day. It's gonna be a bunch of small meals. So yeah. So I'll talk. I think we all have done it, whether we even knew about it or not. So we'll go over each of our experience. So mine is it's just my type A personality. It ended up then becoming too many rules, right? Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna eat between 12 and 8, and then you start freaking out and thinking, oh, well, I can't eat before 8 noon, so you're like waiting for a certain time to eat, and that's not good, like mentally. Like you don't need to like add a ton of rules. The whole point is just to make it fit your lifestyle, right? So I don't specifically like intermittent fast. I think it's great for people again if it's easier to not have to worry about eating breakfast. You just have to worry about less eating times and food and preparation. The thing it did for me was it made it okay to not have to eat all the time. Like when to think you have to eat breakfast right when you wake up. So like it kind of broke me from that habit. Like I realized what's more important is your total food intake over time. So that was a good from it. It kind of like freed the shackles of worrying about like having to eat all the time or right when you wake up. So then for me personally, I eventually fell on I eat 3 square meals a day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, more spread out. I don't snack in between, and it's easy. It works. Like I don't have to prepare a bunch of food, and I do enjoy like eating breakfast. So it's you have to find what works for you.
Yep.
So yeah, and I know Ben has a perfect like he didn't even realize he was doing it. He trains early in the morning, and naturally like yeah, he just didn't make food right when he woke up. He's training all morning, then he works out, then he eats. So naturally he fell on intermittent fasting to work for his lifestyle. Like you want to talk about
Wait.
that?
Let me tell you about this.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I train really early in the morning, right? So I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But no. Well,
That's what
That's so weird. That's good, man. That's a good.
No. But,
So I was way off the
no,
mark.
I had to stop you. I had to stop you. We get the story straight.
Okay.
The real truth is, yeah, I just had dinner, and then by the time I was done working, training, it's 16 hours later, and that would be classified as intermittent fasting. I think, like for me, like doing that, I never was strict about it. If I was home on a weekend or whatever, I would eat whenever I woke up, whenever I guess I wanted to. But I did actually find a little bit of benefit in like the fasting part, the part where you start getting hungry, but you're not going to eat until you get home anyway. Learning how to operate in that. So actually, I trained right about the time I get hungry every morning, and it actually it's been proven to actually help focus while you're training and performance because your body's kind of in a I gotta get some food. I gotta like it's time to hunt because I haven't eaten in a while, and so it actually can help. But I guess overall, other than the experience of it, yeah, it's definitely not the magic pill. It's definitely not the thing that's gonna change you. But maybe something you learn from it will. So I would just say don't go too strict if you choose to try it. But if you try it, do it with a little bit of consistency so you can actually get some results and see what you experience.
Yeah. All right. So my experience is actually pretty much the same as Ben's. Like I train in the morning. Like now I train a little earlier now, but like I was training at like 9:30 a.m., 10 a.m. I would finish up at like 11, and then it's like time to eat after that. So naturally, like yeah, that put me into like not like a 16-hour fast, and really it was just like I didn't want to eat before I trained, and I needed to eat afterwards. So it just kind of set me up for that. Now, like what it did for me, because I've always had like issues with like hunger cues. When am I full? Like it allowed me to like deal with like be okay with being hungry and kind of be better in tune with those cues like you know I'm bored and I want to eat, or I'm actually hungry, I need food. Like it definitely like clarified that a little bit. So that, and then working in the morning, like I used to do like yeah, like I was a little more focused like before I worked out, but really it's just like helped me with the hunger. And then like I like to eat big meals, so I'd rather eat 2 gigantic meals rather than like 3 or 4 smaller ones, just because I'm gonna fill up on a big meal. Um, and then really Ben, because he said magic pill. Like what is the magic pill? Like whatever works for you. Like that's really what the magic pill is. Like what fits into your lifestyle. Because like everyone's magic pill was gonna be pretty much something different. So like finding that and not feeling like oh I have to eat 3 meals or I have to eat 4 meals. For some people like 2 giant meals is great. You don't have to think about breakfast. You hate breakfast. Go for it, man. So like just kind of encouraging everyone to figure out like what do you want to do, like how many meals do you want to eat, what's convenient, and then like basing it off of that instead of feeling like you have to subscribe to like a certain amount of things because people tell you have to.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is, especially for, say, if you're a beginner or you're really just scratching the surface of this stuff, is bottom line is like when we say magic pill, if you eat 2 honey buns for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch, and then you have a bunch of Chinese food for dinner, like that's your normal food, and then you think, oh, I'm gonna do intermittent fasting, and you just eat that amount of food between like your window of eating, so 12 to 8, it's gonna be the same result. Like it's
Yep.
not like nothing is different. Like the total food intake, quality, quantity is the number one most important thing. So when we talk about intermittent fasting, that falls under your meal frequency and structure, right? So you want to think about meal structure and frequency is more what is most sustainable for you. Like what can you live with? So and again, like Ben said, it is great to learn like to be hungry and to be okay with hunger. Like most people will benefit from pushing that boundaries a little bit. So it is definitely something to consider if you're like one of those people who the second you get hungry, you have to eat something or you freak out. It will kind of help you learn to kind of like dive into that and be mindful of it and notice it and be okay with hunger. So that's the big 360 take on it with our experiences. And yeah, so just know like if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe I don't have to change much, I'm just going to eat in a smaller window and that's the ticket, it's not. So yeah, that's kind of our take on intermittent fasting. And one last thing, I do think it's good for, again, like in general, if you're like a girl, smallish girl, and you want to lose weight, like eating 5 to 6 meals like is going to be pretty miserable. Like your meals are going to have to be like 100, 200 calories each.
Yeah, it's just like
So when you condense your meals to just
celery with peanut
eating
butter on it.
yeah 2 or 3, then you can
Jesus.
have a little bit bigger, more satisfying meals. So that's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't want anyone eating celery and peanut butter.
Yeah.
Like we
I
don't
mean,
want.
like ants on a log's pretty good, man. Just put a couple
I
raisins
mean,
on
yeah,
raisins on top,
there
make
you
it a
go.
little bit more fun. I don't know.
I'm too lazy to do that.
I mean, so am I.
I
Like, it
would
sounds like a great idea in
I would
theory,
eat
but
it
like,
all separate. Like I would eat the
yeah.
celery like while I'm trying to take the top off the peanut butter, and then like eat the peanut butter with a spoon and then just take a handful of raisins.
I mean, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like, let's be realistic.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work to me.
But if my mom made them for
Yeah,
me,
that's what I'm talking about. Or like if you had kids, like I would make that for
Yeah.
if I had kids,
So-
because it's fun. But like,
So
I don't know, it's not worth it for
so
myself.
we need to have kids.
That's a lot of pressure right now, man. I'm just
Ants on the log.
ants on a
That's
log.
the only way you're gonna be able to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got next?
All right, so let's go into something that this is a little more like deep into the training. So this is really going to be like your focus while you train, right? Like so when people say the mind muscle connection, right? Like what do they mean by that? Like it's kind of like a bro term in bodybuilding, like oh you got to have the mind muscle connection when you do your curls or whatever, but like that's a really true statement, right? So it's the difference between like we'll use curls for an example because they're like a move where you need a lot of tension more so than weight, right? So it's a difference between just kind of swinging around 25, 30-pound dumbbells and not really like getting your bicep to work a ton and using like 15s and going really slow on the way up and then really controlling that eccentric or like the lowering phase, which is where like your muscle damage or whatever occurs if we're talking about like hypertrophy, getting your muscles bigger, and really like controlling and really like owning that movement. And it can be applied to anything, right? Like if you want a bigger back, like control your rows really well, pause at the top.
If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out. If you know me, you know I'm always on the run, up early and home late, so having a 3-hour morning routine isn't really in the cards for me. What is in the cards is AG1. It's a fast way to get vitamins and minerals I need to perform. I first gave AG1 a try because I wanted a single solution that helps support my entire body by filling in nutrient gaps and simplifying my morning routine. Since drinking AG1 daily, I've always felt strong and energized and ready to attack the day. Not only does AG1 deliver my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more, it's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. It's one scoop, mixed in water, once a day and every day. I know that AG1 is giving my body high-quality nutrition. Every batch of AG1 goes through a rigorous testing process so you know that it's safe. And AG1 ingredients are sourced for absorption, potency, and nutrition density. AG1 is a supplement that I trust to provide the support my body needs daily, and that's why I'm excited to welcome them as a new partner. Here is your chance to start every day this season with a gift to yourself. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/provengrit. That's drinkag1.com/provengrit. Check it out.
Go slow on the way down, because if you're just like using momentum to swing things around, then like yeah, the rep's getting finished, but that muscle's not working to its full potential and getting like what we call time under tension. Like you want the muscle to basically be under that load for as long as possible, really during the rep. So if you're swinging it around, you might start it with the muscle and end it with the muscle, but that in between is not getting as much work as it needs to. Um,
Yeah, and really, and even to take it a step back, so you almost want to look at this as like a third stage. So if your first stage is like you're trying to get in the gym and just get to your workouts, right? So like that's like get that down, all right? Then second, you're doing your workouts, you're doing your sets, you're doing your reps, right? And a lot of people then get to that point and they think, I just got to do more, right? But a lot of people have to step back from that, and then that's where the tension and how is each single rep done comes into play. Like that's when you're at that next level, and for a lot of people, it's slowing things down, and just like focusing more. A lot of times when you just go all out, you're trying to do more reps, more weight, like it doesn't happen that quick. Like you're not going to always go up in weight. So a way to progress is by the quality of your repetitions. So a lot of people, if you feel like you're past that stage of like you're getting in your workout groove and you just want to keep progressing, focus on quality over quantity. So and what sparked this is we saw at the gym this guy curling 40-pound dumbbells, but it was like all this momentum, like swinging your whole body, and you will actually get more progress and do better if you drop the weight and focus on quality. Like at some point, it's diminishing returns. So, so kind of breaking it down, it's really like just think quality over quantity is a key thing.
Yeah.
And Ben, Mr. Movement Master, and when he started training with us, we kind of always train this way. So he's kind of done it naturally from the beginning, but I think he like you kind of want to talk about like the importance of it, especially more from like you mentioned today, like how your workouts become almost like meditative in a way.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. So like, it really, I think it all comes down to what your goals are and understanding how to actually achieve those goals. If your goal is to build bigger muscles, if your goal is to move better, feel better, or if your goal is to like get really strong and be able to lift a ton of weight, those deviate at some point. At some point, you're going to have to choose, like usually during each rep, what your goal is and what you want out of your rep. So things like what Will said about muscles decelerate to build. So lifting a 40-pound dumbbell up to curl, the concentric part of that, where you shorten the bicep, it's really not. That's not the part where you're building the muscle. You're building strength. You're going to build this overall tension through your body. You're going to get really, I guess, strong. Maybe you're going to learn how to use your pec to curl. I mean, it could get really dicey, but you're also, I guess the point of that is the deceleration, the part where it's lowering. That's where your biceps being built. And so if your goal is strength, yeah, go ahead and lift those 40-pounders. But if your goal is muscle building, like hypertrophy, then work on the deceleration. So really I would just say to include that, just know your goal and then make sure that you're actually rep to rep going toward that and not moving backwards.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna touch on this because it's kind of the same, like with that the bodybuilding focus of like doing reps really well and having that mind muscle connection, and having the goal on like growing, the muscle, like that plays into like joint safety as well. As you're doing this stuff and you're doing it really well and you're putting the tendons and the ligaments under like just enough stress, but you're doing it, basically safely, it helps to basically build up that joint. Like the bicep, for example, like your tendons are getting stronger and stronger and stronger as you have that constant good lower tension, rather than if you're doing that 40, like the risk for injury because you lack the strength of your connective tissue, is so much higher. So it can also help, not just like look better, because everyone does want to look better, but like with keeping you safe as well. And it goes for really any joint of the body, not just your bicep, but it's just a really good example. It goes for pretty much everything, like your back, your quads, the whole deal. And then, a little hypertrophy is always a good thing too. So yeah, control your reps, people. Do it well,
Yep.
And really, like, I got one more thing. So if that means like, you can muscle up the 100-pound dumbbells on a dumbbell press, but it's like, it's ugly, it's like somebody took the trash out and the bag split open, and that's like what your reps look like, then like you're gonna benefit more. Like, yeah, you can get through that movement, but you're gonna get better results if you like own the 80s really well, and then maybe hit multiple sets of those 80s rather than just like maxing out and thinking that like, hey, because this is a higher weight, I'm doing more. So, and I think that actually leads into our next topic, which is training versus straining, or like training versus competing, whatever you want to see it. Like training is practice, right? It's like we're trying to get better at movement, and sometimes training is treated like a competition. It turns into, from instead of like, I want to get good at these movements, to what's the most I can do in this session. And that's a good way to kind of, nerf your progress a little bit. Yeah, Deegs, you want to weigh in on this a little bit?
Yeah, I think a good analogy for most people is, take like a sport like football, right? Like they play once a week for a reason and 16 times a year. So that's their game. But their practice all week is never at the same intensity. They're not wearing pads and tackling and hitting and all that because they know they need to recover and they want to get better at the skills of the sport. And that's what they practice day in and day out. That's how they get better at competing. So, and it's because they have to do that to be able to recover properly and prepare. So it's the same thing with working out. What happens now is you have where every workout is turned into competing, competition, right? So then you're just pushing yourself to your limit every single time, and you're not able to recover, and you're not actually getting better. It's like a false sense of getting better because you feel like you worked yourself as hard as you could, but ultimately you're actually not your skill isn't improving. So when you work out majority of the time, you should be like focused on quality over quantity, and it should be, I don't necessarily like to say punching the clock, but in a way it should be more closer to like punching the clock than it should be to you know, competing in the Olympics. So you want to have more punch the clocks than you do lie on your backs at the end of your workout. So and again, like, but the thing is, like, this will get you better when time does come to maybe push your limits or test yourself. And one way to do this is what we do at our gym. It is have like a testing week, you know. So like every 12 weeks, we'll kind of have lifts or exercises or little standards we'll use to then push yourself, right? But in between that, you want to like be more focused, build your skill, and work towards those weeks to where you go all out. So that's you know, and that's a common way. That's how every sport works. You know, that's how yeah, and any you know even when you know like we use football or baseball or whatever. Yeah, there's a competition season and there's an off season and there's time in between. There's lots of practice. So working out should be the same, and honestly, it should be more so because most of us have lots of other stress. You know, the working out isn't the only thing going on in our life. You know, we have jobs and stress and relationships and kids and everything. So you have to factor that in and not let your workout be a way for you to basically just always be breaking yourself down.
Yeah.
I agree with what has been stated.
Apparently, Ben is on trial.
Yeah.
And
It's good practice.
Don King is telling him what to say. So
yeah, Ben pleads the fifth.
Don King says,
So
don't strain.
yeah,
Just train.
exactly, and really like so, like this is actually a good opportunity. Like if you feel like you're always beat up, like no matter what, like you're training, you're like fuck, I always hurt. My shoulders are always achy. My back always hurts, or you just feel run down all the time. It might be a good opportunity to like look at your training. Am I just killing myself every day? Because nobody can really do that, you know, unless you're a roided up pro athlete or something like that. You're not going to be able to recover enough to be able to do that to yourself. And none of us are. Like as coaches, we train 3 to 4 days a week, and if you saw us train, you'd be like, these dudes, like half the time they're standing around doing nothing. But like, there's a reason that we do that, you know. Like we're not, you know, busting our asses every single day trying to like prove something like that we can, you know, do so much work in so little time or something like that. You know, like there's a process, and you just try to get a little bit better, you know, over time. So just like keeping that in mind. So good opportunity for people to kind of check that out and see.
Yeah.
see
And this
where
is
they're
in
at.
the context of like just trying to be fit for life in both
Exactly.
ways, like for longevity and hey, like we're just trying to be fit to be our best with our everyday lives. You know, when you do decide to do certain sports or competitions, like there is a sacrifice to be made. And you will have to compete at some point and push. But even in those situations, like a lot, like most of your workout should be practice. Every day, it's just not a competition.
It really is about knowing your goal, and for example, we walked. I don't really know how long to the restaurant that we were recommended to go to.
It was like a
And
mile and a half to the restaurant, I think.
it's just never an issue. We never sit there and you stare at Google Maps and you say, I don't know if I can make it that far, and I'm carrying a backpack, and that's I train so that I never have to worry about that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I think if I was doing more of a 3 day, you know, and a ton of rest, and I lifted super heavy during those days and stressed out a ton with that. I may throw that off. I spread my training out personally. I train minimally, but multiple
Frequently.
Yeah, frequently.
Yeah.
So that it kind of lends itself to being able to do the everyday activities a little bit easier. It's not a high stress thing, like Will said. If you watch this train, I mean, honestly, I try not to make a face. You know, it's really about making the movement smooth.
Yeah.
So that when I'm walking with a backpack, I don't have back pain when I walk. I don't my feet don't hurt when I come back. You know, it's all it's all a little bit easier because of the work I put into the
Exactly.
gym.
And that's like, I think that's a good goal for most people. Like you want to work out. Like all of us want to look good and feel good, but like a good byproduct is like just being able to do whatever you want outside of the gym. You know, like the gym is not life. Like it literally like is our job, and we still don't want it to be like the only thing in our life. Like I want to be able to go play frisbee, like play games and not pull a hamstring and be able to go hike. Like Gary hikes like all the time, and the guy's a freaking pro. Because when I went, I was dying. but or like being able to go rock climb. Doing all this stuff without any pain because we're not destroying ourselves in the gym, I think is a really important thing to shoot for. Like you should be able to go out and do things. Go kayak, stand up. I know a lot of people at our gym like stand up paddleboard, or they go walk the Nolan. Like that stuff's important to be able to do because like that is really what matters the most, rather than just how much weight you can lift in the gym.
Yep. And then Will kind of touched on something that's a good point. We see a lot nowadays is and this is like due to social media, and like you can go on Instagram and see like 9 different things. Like you can see someone that's a pro bodybuilder, someone that's an obstacle course racer, someone that's a CrossFitter, someone that's a world class kickballer, and you're like, oh, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do this. Should I be doing both? I'm gonna try to do them all. And that's a perfect example. Like Ben is into rock climbing, right? I like to hike. So I spend a lot of my extra free time going hiking. Obviously, naturally, I get good at hiking from doing that. And then I see Ben scaling a little rock while we're hiking and rock climbing, and I'm like, man, for a second, I'm like, I want to rock climb, but that would take up my hiking time, right? So if now all of a sudden I'm trying to do rock climbing and hiking, then something.
Hikey time.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta have the hikey time.
Yeah.
Well, Ben wants some hikey. See, now I'm actually making Ben second guess.
And no, I was sweating too, trying to keep up with.
Dude, they were dying.
Yeah, dude, man,
it's so
I was smoked.
Hiking's fun because it's tricky because you're just walking, right? So no one thinks anything of it. But
it's a stressful walk.
I know, and
I think a lot of our listeners actually do get their hikey time.
They do, yeah.
And you could probably weigh in and let us know how much you value your hikey time.
Yeah, I mean we.
In the same way.
I wish I
do.
took more hikey time, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't take enough.
I don't take enough.
Just talking about this.
Yep.
It's not that far away. Like hour and a half drive.
There's elevation.
Hour and a half, it gets some good elevation there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I suppose it's Deegs. Malibu's right there.
I know.
But it's still not an excuse.
The boo. So.
Wish we had our own boo.
Yep. But essentially, like, everyone loves hikey time. But if you can't get out and hike, but you can do something else, like, that's fine. Like, you don't have to. You go on Instagram and see everyone else is hiking. Like, you don't then have to be a world class hiker.
Nah.
Like it's just like you only have so much time. So do what you enjoy, and be okay with it.
Have fun.
Yeah, you don't have to be elite. You don't have to be world class. Like it's okay.
Yep.
So so that's our thing. Like work out so that you can do anything you want. Find some stuff you enjoy and mix it all together. And then don't get sidetracked. Don't try to do everything.
That's a good way to fail if you try everything.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
But if you want to challenge me in some hikey time,
yeah,
hit me
you
up.
want to challenge us in some ultimate frisbee? Hit us up.
Yeah. So.
You smack that ass.
It's getting a little too serious.
Wow, that's the bourbon talking. The bourbon's flowing real free right now.
The bourbon is what makes hiking hikey.
Hikey. That's a sweet
time.
Tea. Nah, blame it on fucking Deep Eddie's sweet tea and not the bourbon.
Hey man, you need those. You need that extra. That made with local honey to fuel your hiking.
How much honey's in this? They say that like it's a good thing. It's still.
I don't know. It doesn't say. They don't have.
Man, you don't have to put nutrition facts on here. Dude,
I'll tell you this. There's a lot of honey in there because it tastes good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just dangerously
good. It tastes too good.
Like, if my bourbon tastes like this, I'd be really drunk right now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Bourbon is like its own natural, like, it keeps you from drinking it too fast. You gotta sip on it because it burns the entire way down. So, just kind of keeps it hood.
That's just too much pain for me.
But it's good. Like, it's delicious pain.
Like, my goal with anything is to accomplish the goal with as little suffering as possible.
I can, yeah. Okay.
Actually, like Mark Sisson, Mr. Primal, that's the stuff, right?
Primal.
Like he stated something like that, and he used to be, I think, like an elite runner and everything, long distance, and now he talks about how he feels so much better. He's in his 60s, looks great.
Dude, he looks like a freaking rock star.
And that's that's his goal is like to accomplish everything with as little suffering as possible.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly okay.
And I think it's a good goal. Like,
you don't have to suffer.
Yeah, like if you want to lose weight, like eat the most food you can possibly eat to lose that weight. And for training, like train like the least bit you have to for the maximal result, you know, to get the results that you want. And I think that's a great way to live. Like, don't have any excess, really, you know?
Nope.
So, yeah, like, live like Mark Sisson.
Mark
Sisson or Sison?
One of the two.
Sison.
Sison. What you got? You want to close it out, Ben?
Sure, I'd love to close it out. So, thanks for listening. We had fun making this one here in Austin, face to face. Finally, doing a podcast.
We're sitting elbow to elbow right now.
We are. We're snug. We're warm.
Wearing our jams right now.
You know, from loving our hearts and you know, the warm Austin humidity. But you know, it's been fun. That's how I would close it out. But there's other things that you normally say. So,
I think that's good. I think that's good.
Yeah. If you're Newport News, check us out. Coastal Strength and Fitness. You can check us out on Instagram. Gary Deagle, Will Shive, and what is it? Bengal? Bengal.
At Bengal.
Like Bengal Tiger with an E.
Yeah, and we'll post it up in the show notes.
Then you're not meant to find
So
it.
if you want to see what we do with our day, or like,
did anybody listen to the music that the last one, When in Rome?
Oh, When in Rome,
You guys listen to that?
I didn't listen to it.
Okay, I got feedback from Deegs last time. But,
Yeah.
So if y'all ever have feedback on that,
What's a good one, man? What do you got?
I got one for this.
What do you got?
Obviously.
What are we talking about
here? And this is in honor of ACL because we are going to see them on Sunday night. The Gorillas, Dirty Harry. That's
Dirty
the
Harry?
song. Yep. And make sure you got some space. You're gonna want to groove. Okay?
Oh, whoa!
Yeah.
What album are we talking? I'm playing this right now. I need to know.
Oh, please do.
What album is it, man? First album?
Ooh, Demon Days.
Demon Days.
Try that one.
It's just like underground, but here we go. Demon Days.
Dirty Harry. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, get ready.
This is
I
you?
hope it comes through. Killing me.
Is this it? Like this?
Oh, this is it.
This is you
You
grooving?
can hear it. Like.
No, not the song. Like this is your dancing.
Is this like your funky kind,
limits, like we're about to get it going.
Okay.
Like, would you like tie like a sock around your head and just like let it flow to this song?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay.
no, like as we're walking downtown and we like see the beige building. You know, I got my headphones in.
He's referencing the beige building is this building in Austin that's their capital. That
The beige house.
It looks like the White House except it's beige.
Well, Ben goes, there's a picture of it on the wall, and Ben
Yeah.
goes, is that the White House?
But it was a real blonde moment. He was like, "Is that the White House?"
And you know what though, like, dude, I have those moments too often.
Yeah.
Like, we were walking, I'm gonna put myself on the spot here. We were walking at Kelm Creek, and they have like the lakes and stuff there, and we're walking. I was like, do you think they have fish in there? And Whitney just looked at me like, what's wrong with
like
you?
what? Like. A, it's a lake, so that's where fish live.
Yeah,
And B, like,
just-
are you planning on fishing in the lake?
But there's like no fishing signs or
Right.
whatever. Like, and I just had to know, and not thinking before I speak.
Is there fish in there?
And yeah, and so I'm for the rest of my life, I'm never gonna hear the end of this, basically. So, and I'm okay with it. You know, if that's like the trade-off, I'll take it.
So,
Alright.
but that's the one. You want to feel a little city living, a little grooving. Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry, the Gorillas.
Yeah.
Hopefully they play it. Hopefully they play it this
The
weekend.
bass didn't even drop. So
Yeah.
if you were already grooving, then you're in for it.
Yeah. So yeah. Turn that on after the podcast. Groove to it a little bit. Let us know how you feel.
Let us know.
Yeah.
If you guys have any,
Let me know if I'm hitting something.
if you guys have any questions, anything you want us to cover, fitness, nutrition, life, beards, bourbon. You guys want to talk about steak or white rice? Like, I don't care what it is. Hit us up. Drop a comment on some of our social media, and we'll cover it.
And one last thing, Will mentioned beards. Before we went to the barbecue place, I asked Will, do people ask to touch your beard? No lie, on cue. Like, we walked a mile and a half to the barbecue place, so like 40 minutes later, we stopped to see bats. That's what, we don't walk that slow.
Yeah.
So after the bats, we then went to the barbecue place, and then as we were walking in, a highly intoxicated girl asked if she could touch Will's beard.
Yeah.
And then she inappropriately rubbed the beard for like the longest.
It was too long though.
the
Like, I thought it was gonna
longest,
be a
like
quick
12
touch.
seconds.
Yeah, but she like two-handed it too, which I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
she And yeah,
And she was
so
just like, I love beards.
it was like a little bit awkward, but
And then she
And then Will kicked her in the
profiled
stomach,
him and assumed he was from Texas.
yeah, she thought I was from Austin because I
'Cause
guess
he
I
had
looked
a
like a
beard.
hipster with a beard. But no,
But yeah, so
So-
we'll leave you with that.
yeah, I got profiled today.
All right.
All right, later.